So today I have the honor and privilege of bringing you a very unique and profound story. Trust me, you don't know what we're about to tell you. You don't know. So, Apostle Kalanzi came today and talked about discipleship and missional communities and how missional communities are a powerful vehicle for transformation, for multiplication, for church planting, for creating an army that can go out and multiply the kingdom of God. And today we are bringing you a story you'll get to know as we go. First, I want these people to introduce themselves to us. They're going to tell us their name, what they lead in Worship Harvest. Is that okay? Ladies first, we'll start over there.
Good morning, Proclaim 2023. My name is Eva Kisakye, and I lead Worship Harvest Bugembe.
All right, keep going.
Good morning. My name is Pastor Mwesigwa, Worship Harvest WHBugembe. Good morning, Proclaim 2023. My name is Bill, and I'm currently leading Worship Harvest WHBudondo.
Currently.
Good morning. My name is Ron Matheson, and I am the location pastor at WHBugembe and lead the Territory Takers Network.
Good morning, Proclaim. My name is Obete, and I currently lead at WHBugembe.
Hi, Proclaim. My name is Ayero Josephine, leading WHBugembe.
So first of all, you've noticed that all these are location pastors. Now, can I tell you something about these location pastors? And Pastor Ron and Pastor Ann are network leaders, okay? Now, all these people are a product of one missional community. One missional community has produced 6 location pastors and been part of planting 9 churches in Worship Harvest. Oh yes, we think it's phenomenal. We think it's worth celebrating. Do you want to hear the story of this missional community? Okay, sit down and let's tell you the story. So you're going to hear a story. It's going to move from person to person. You'll get to see how the story unfolds. For 8 years ago, something began with Pastor Bill and Pastor Tina. Pastor Bill, why don't you tell us about No Limits Missional Community?
Yes, so in 2015, we were part of a very big missional community in Jinja. It had like 50 people. And then one of those missional communities, the pastors asked us to stay behind, and we were informed that the next week we shall be starting a missional community. And so my wife and I made some calls through the week, and come Wednesday, we prepared some tea, we bought some snacks. We had invited, I think, up to a total of 7 people, and so we waited. We even called, hi, how are you? Where are you? And like, we are coming. We are coming. And of course, okay, not of course, but no one showed up.
Hey! What a launch.
Yeah. And so the very next Wednesday, we still made invitations. One of the people that was in that missional community was Pastor Philip Gesa of CPM.
Wow.
Yes, and so that day people came, and so for like a month or 2, we were like between 5 to 7 people.
Okay,
and
better than 0.
Yes. And then one of those Sundays, one of those Wednesdays, 10 people showed up. Now, our sitting room at the time, 7 people would feel like it's full house. And so when 10 people came,
what a sitting room.
Where are people going to sit? And so what we did next was the house where we were renting, the bedroom was way bigger than the sitting room.
Very good.
And there was also a kitchen. And so I had a conversation with my wife. She's a very understanding woman.
Aww.
We moved our bedroom to the kitchen.
Oh, yes.
Yes, so we started staying in the kitchen. And the sitting room became like a kitchen that leads to the sitting room.
The bedroom.
Which used to be the bedroom.
So the bedroom became the living room.
Yes. And I don't know, but when we did that, it exploded. We grew to 35 people. And our MCs would go up to 10, 11 p.m. And people don't want to leave. And so we had something good that was going, and we led the MC. One of those days, our landlord locked the gate, so people arrived on Wednesday, and they couldn't access the house, because he was like, what is in that house? That people come and park their cars and get in and stay till late.
And the landlord knew the size of the sitting room.
Yes.
You can't blame them.
Yes, and so that was part of the story. And then 2016, it was one of the most successful at the time. We were asked to go and plant an MC in Iganga.
You were. Then what happened?
So we handed over to a friend who is not here today. She's called Nkirote Murithi. She was a missionary from Kenya, and she came, and this Meru woman led the MC for a whole year. And the MC continued to grow. It grew past where we had left it.
Wow.
Yes, and that's when she handed over to
Pastor Martha. How did you come to lead this missional community?
That's a good question. Because, so when Kirote left, she created a WhatsApp group with a few people who she thought were potential leaders. And she called us. The WhatsApp group, there was nothing much going on. No one was saying yes. And so time came and she had to go. So what she did was, she said, the missional group is big, so let's birth. I think people will accept to lead if there are fewer people. So then we birthed No Limits in WHWairaka, that was being led by a gentleman called Clark. When that happened, there was a lot of commotion on the group. Why are you chasing us away? You don't love us anymore. And so people were saying really bad things on the group. So my lovely husband decided that there was too much violence on the group. So he closed the group.
What a husband.
So after closing the group, he opened another group and then started contacting one by one and asking, if you'd like to join the missional community, this is the link, but this is how we are going to behave.
Okay, order.
So we started afresh. And people came. Then we continued to grow. That was 2016, 2017, into 2018. The missional community began to grow. It was so good. Pastor Eva there was our host.
Wow.
And she would host us. She would host us, prepare the tea, and disappear.
What a host.
And so we led it up to 2018 when we had to stay in hospital for an extended period of time. And so we had to find another leader. Now, one of our biggest problems was we weren't intentionally finding leaders to take over at that time. So we identified 2 people and said, you will lead together.
Okay.
And they would meet, there was no clear leader, but after a while, Pastor Grace Nafula took over leadership. She's a zonal pastor at Worship Harvest Ginger.
And she's soon planting.
She's soon planting, yes.
She should stand up.
Yeah.
And so that's where our leadership of No Limits ended, and then Pastor Ron.
Thank you. So my wife and I joined Worship Harvest Ginger in the middle of 2018 and said we want to be a part of a missional community straight away. As soon as we heard about it, we said, yes, we'll be in. And we were directed to No Limits, which at that time, Pastor Martha and Pastor Felix were still the leaders. But we had plenty going on in our life and had no desire for any kind of leadership. And so we just wanted to be in a missional community, doing what missional community members do.
What do they do,
keeping out of the
Pastor
way.
Ron? What do missional community members do, Pastor Ron?
Well, the missional community members in No Limits would show up to meetings. We would eat.
Of course.
We would do whatever the teaching was that was happening. We'd watch that.
Watch it, okay.
And then we would discuss. And as a non-leader, I tried to keep quiet. See, contextualisation way back then. Learning about the environment. But one thing we didn't know about what happened in missional communities were that, as well as there being a missional community, that there were these things called huddles.
Tell us about these huddles.
Well, we found out that there were huddles when the No Limits MC actually won an award for being the best organised huddling MC.
And how long had you been in the MC without knowing that there were huddles?
We'd been in there for about 8 or 9 months by this time. And we didn't know that.
Please
and so
explain why this happened.
We went along to MC to find out what are these things called huddles that we've won this award for.
You've won an award.
And apparently I had been in a huddle. I just didn't know it because my huddle leader was a bit reluctant to kind of lead me. And
to huddle you.
And Pastor Ann's huddle leader kept complaining to the MC leaders that, how can I be her huddle leader? She huddles me.
When the huddle member huddles the huddle leader.
So we were part of the MC. And then along came this thing called COVID.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we couldn't move around. And like we stay in WHWairaka, which is 15 minutes out of town.
Yeah.
And so we had to say, okay, well, we'll keep it running for the people who are from out here.
Keep it running.
At the school. We'll keep doing the MC things.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you are not leading it, just doing the things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find it very interesting because everyone, apart from the person who began the missional community, was a reluctant leader. When you hear the story, all of them, you know, the Obetes, they said they were not leading, they were caretakers. For like 2 years, they were the caretakers of the missional community until they handed over to other reluctant caretakers and then handed over all the way. So here we are with another one who was also just reluctant and making sure that it's running in WHWairaka.
So we weren't even claiming it as our own MC because we were still sending our attendance numbers and things into Ginger for a while.
So you were a huddle.
Yeah.
Wow.
But we did become an MC at the college where we have out in WHWairaka, and so the people who were living out of town on that side joined us. So Pastor David joined us, Pastor Martha, Pastor Felix, they were living up that side, and so they joined us. And then with a slight relaxation, we were allowed to have our students at the teacher training college that we run come back. And so at that point, Pastor Josephine came back, and There's actually another pastor here that is not up here. I'm not sure if Pastor Tom has made it yet. Are you here, Pastor Tom?
Pastor Tom from, Worship Harvest Palisa,
Pastor Tom
right?
from Palisa.
Yeah.
Is he? Yeah.
Probably somewhere working.
So we became a big MC. Now, it became too big to all meet in one, so we sort of pushed the students and said, you run your own. And so they did that.
So who was leading that, the students?
So we birthed an MC out of No Limits there in WHWairaka. Yeah.
So No Limits MC was now reproducing other mission, but they were all called No Limits. Were they all called No Limits Missional Community at this point?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So, because no one wanted to start anything with this is still under No Limits.
Yeah. The students we just told them. They didn't get a choice.
Oh, right.
We said, you and you and you and you are the leaders.
You're in a missional community and you're the leaders.
Yeah.
So now you're leading, and who takes over from this point?
I think probably Pastor David.
It was Pastor David. Pastor David, talk to us. Give us the background of the story.
Well, for me, I started coming to worship service in 2018. Had been a Christian. I got born again in my P4. But I reached a time when I say that I backslid. That's what I say because I think I did backslide actually.
Okay.
So I went to worship service to just attend church because it
was
close to my workplace. I'm a soccer guy. And so to get me easy to go to the radio to work and also go to the field to work with, I work with the Uganda Premier League club, Gaddafi. So Pastor Bill apparently told Pastor Filter about me and what I can do. I joined because of Pastor Ron and Ann, who were my disciples. We moved with them from 2012. That's where my journey with Pastor Ron and Ann comes from. And so Pastor Bill told Pastor Filter that I think David can do service hosting.
Okay.
So they asked me to service host. I came, I hosted, and then they said I should host the next Sunday. I knew they were going to arrest me into ministry. I ran away.
Okay, what an arresting. You think you have sheep, but they are deer. So you ran away, you disappeared.
Yeah, so I disappeared, and for me it was this. I thought being a pastor is going to stop me from what I love. That's soccer.
Okay.
Because from childhood, that's my thing. I also started a football club that plays in a league, a 4th division league in Jinja. So I thought church may get me from that, because from my background, I had some people say that soccer is evil. Yeah, so I thought sometime they'll get me to church and take me off soccer. But then back to the No Limit story. In 2018, Pastor Ron and Ann kept inviting me and getting me into No Limits. Now, I came to No Limits for 2 reasons.
Tell us.
One was that there was a lot of love in the community.
Okay.
And second, it was food.
Food, of course. Food always gets you. Food always gets people.
Yeah.
Food and love.
Pastor
You hadn't come so that you can learn more about Jesus.
But by that time I had backslid, so I was not interested.
All right, but you were interested in food and love.
Yeah. So
Noted.
Pastor Eve cared so much about every member. She cooked good food. And then I was still single, so...
Now we are telling the truth.
So, in Lusoga we say, ngokuba osama, bakuwemere wakuba osama, you don't eat.
Interpret.
Yeah, like somersault means like you bridge a gap. You don't cook at your place, so you just somersault because
to the neighbors.
The meal was at the MC. So in 2008, that was in 2021, I think. That's when No Limits in Jinja stopped because we had to. COVID was on, and then so we had to break up and go to different places. So I went to WHWairaka.
I think multiply is a better word.
Yeah, we multiply.
Break up.
Yeah.
Multiply.
And so we were No Limits WHWairaka for some time. And one day, Pastor Ron and Ann said, the MC is no more. Every MC member needs to start an MC where they are.
Fire! General Ann and General Ron Matheson.
So they immediately removed us from the group.
Hey, my goodness. But you had been enjoying love for 2 years and food.
So
it was about time.
I started an MC in Bugembe.
Okay.
So then I started with my soccer team because my soccer team is based in Bugembe. So it grew very fast, multiplied. We had 3 MCs in a short while.
Very good.
And still we had fun there. By the path a bit through, we used to meet at my father's house, who doesn't come to worship harvest, but is an elder in another church. And then one moment he told us, but you guys, you're always meeting here, and you're not giving us a little bit of our church thing. Eh? So you can now stop meeting here and meet in a certain place else. And we went. We started meeting in another place. He didn't say it in bad faith, but he just directed us to a new place, and we started meeting there. Now, as we were meeting there, Pastor Ron and Ann again called me at their house. I used to go there a couple of times. We played Uno till late, and they dropped me back home.
Hey.
And then they asked me about when I'm getting married.
Fire!
And so I started investigating why they are asking me about that. And I came to not unconsciously, but I came to discover that Pastor Ron and Ann desired that I would get married and then start leading a location. So
that's a good plan.
I started
dodging again.
Dodging a little
but
bit.
you didn't disappear.
Yeah, I didn't disappear this time.
Okay.
Then
that's improvement.
Yeah. So I got a fiancée, Pastor Susan. She's
hey,
out there.
Pastor Susan, where are you? She's waving.
She's there with our son, Kak David Mwesigwa.
Hey!
Yeah, Apostle, I stole that name from you. Yeah, so we go to their house, and immediately they asked us, do you have plans of getting married? We said, of course we do. Pastor Ann wrote a calendar and said,
pick a date.
Pick a date.
What a discipler. Wow! Pick a date. Which month do you like? This is what we are going to do for some people.
So,
oh, yes.
So, yeah. So, fast forward, we got married, and now they told me again that we would like you to plant a location. Now, at that moment, my Bugembe thing was working.
Come on now.
So I was very sure they're going to tell me, we're going to start a location in Bugembe. They told me, we are sending you to Kakira. What a shock.
What a shock.
I didn't like Kakira, and I had my reasons.
Okay.
I grew up in Mwiri Primary School. My father was a teacher there, Mr. Isabiri Alex, in the late 80s, and then he came back as a head teacher. But we had a lot of stories about Kakira. It had violence. There was gun violence, drunkenness, and all those things, drugs. So I didn't want to associate with anything to do with Kakira. Nevertheless, I accepted, and on 15th January, we launched WHBugembe this year. Yeah.
From backslider to church planter. Come on. Pastor Eva. These people all say that, honestly, if Pastor Eva can plant a church, nothing is impossible.
No limits.
There are no limits. In fact, Pastor Bill asked Pastor Eva a question earlier. Said, were you born again when we met you? And her answer was, actually, I don't know. She does not remember. But talk to us, Pastor Eva. What happened to you coming from the reluctant host? You're happy to host, run away, leave them eating, come back in the evening, in the night, don't want to be part of this thing. Guest experience team, that's as far as I'll go. What's the story for you in No Limits MC that leads to you becoming a church planter?
Thank you, Pastor B3. So with No Limits, I was asked to host the MC in my home, which I did. So each time people could come, the only thing that I knew that I learned from Pastor Tina was, when you're hosting an MC, make sure there is tea, there is food. So I could buy my matoke because most of these guys, they could come from work and they're very tired. They're not going to go to their homes and cook, so I would cook. Matoke, cook what, and then when we could meet, we could eat, and then go. My job was cook. Arrange, cook, run away, come back when they're almost closing because the MC could end at around 9, 10. And then say bye-bye, people, thank you for coming. Wait for next Wednesday.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
So later...
She is not lying. She's not lying.
You confirm that this is true.
So later, I was assigned the guest experience team leader at church because I used to go to church, Worship Harvest. I became regular at church. Every Sunday I could not miss. And then in the process of staying, doing the guest experience team thing, I realized the teachings happened, and then I was like, but Eva, really, how can you host people and run away from them? You have to start sitting. I started sitting. Each time Pastor Ann used to come to my house, she could ask me, are you staying with us today? Then I started, yes, I am staying. So I started staying, we learned things together, we went out for frontiers, helped communities, gave out food, and we became a family.
Yes.
I used to over fell sick every month. And each time, sometimes they used to come, I was in my bed. They came, prayed for me, and I was like, okay. Visited me in the hospital. Pastor Martha treated me at a certain point of time and paid for my hospital bill. So I was like, you know what? Good leader, sit down. So I had to stay and lead. Then 2020, Pastor Filter asks me to do School of Leadership.
Okay.
I did School of Leadership as well as doing my postgraduate diploma in business administration. I thought I could not finish School of Leadership, but I did. He started writing to me these messages of, I am proud of you, Eva. I was like, proud of me? Okay.
You can't quit when they are proud of you, my friend.
Little did I know he was setting me up. 2022, you're doing School of Ministry. I obeyed and did. We came for intensive week and he told me, do you know you're planting? I was like, no, I'm not planting. I'm just doing this because you've told me to do. So I'm doing. When we came for the graduation, in the morning, Pastor Ron and Ann told me, we have these places to plant. Choose one. I told them, let me come back. I walked around, came back and sit. Pastor Filter walked to me and said, we have 1, 2, 3 places. Choose. I told him, Pastor Filter, I'm going to tell you when you get to Ginger.
Okay. Do you think you'd never get to Ginger?
So when we got to Ginger, he asked me on Sunday early in the morning, congratulations, thank you for Osomi Mwana Wanga. I'm like, okay. So where are you going? You said you're telling me when you go to Ginger. I told him I was thinking of Buwenge, maybe there they don't know me. But Bugembe, I have grown up from there, so I'm not going. He said, okay, no problem. 22nd January, if I got a place in Bugembe and you're launching the hosting center this Sunday. I thought it's a joke. So
what a joke.
I went with some people. And then I was like, I'm just standing in for someone. The real pastor is coming.
All right.
Yeah. So I was waiting for the real pastor to come. Only on the 26th of March, Pastor Ron comes in. We are launching. So I thought, I'm just helping the person who's going to launch the location. Yeah.
And you helped them to launch?
Yeah, I helped myself to launch.
Wow. And Pastor Josephine as well. When did you join No Limits?
I joined No Limits when I went to college as a student.
Then how do you plant Magamaga?
How do I plant Magamaga? First of all, when I joined the college, I was very disappointed. I didn't want anything to do with the course I was doing, and that was teaching. So I used to blame everyone around me, my dad. I'm like, Manange, I have tried. Because I'd got a first grade, I wanted to go for A-level. But then I was in a sponsorship, and these people were telling me, we are ending at 18 aggregates. I had 24, so they could not take me to A-level. But then I was so disappointed, but I had to go. So when I went, I found the things of MCs. I didn't know them. Me, I thought maybe you just go watch TV.
Watch some TV.
Yes, we could go, watch, then Pastor Ron and Pastor Ann would prepare snacks.
Snacks, you people. If you have a missional community and there's no food, I don't know what to do for you.
I didn't know anything about MC, so they would prepare snacks. We would go. Of course, we were very many students, so we go enjoy, make double dealing snacks. For sure, Apostle would teach, and you would leave with nothing because we would go after watching MC. Pastor and Pastor Ann used to send us in classrooms in groups, and those were huddles, but we didn't know. We just thought maybe these are just groups. So we'd go, you have to share a highlight. Meanwhile, you didn't understand anything.
But there's snacks, my friend, and TV.
So you would wait for your friends to share. Then you remember, oh, Apostle talked about that. So you just remember.
As they are sharing.
As they are sharing. So you also give your highlight. That's how it started. Then lockdown comes. We go back home. I had never had a smartphone. I would just see a smartphone at an angle.
What an angle.
Yes, so they used to tell us studying is going to shift to be online. So I told my dad, now I can't stop studying. I requested him to buy for me a smartphone. Fortunately, he bought for me. So I don't know how Pastor Ron got to know that.
He's a discipler, my friend.
That I had received a smartphone. So he bought for me that. I remember he bought for me 7
GB. Come on now.
Then he told me, watch Garage. So I would watch Garage, share with them. So then after, I started an MC. How did I start that MC? I was doing homeschooling. Since I was a teacher trainee, I had these students, they were learners, they were in the same organization with me, so we were staying at the same place. So my sponsors, our leaders, asked me to do homeschooling with them. So I would teach them. After teaching them, so meanwhile I started an MC with them because Pastor Ann gave me an idea that since you're doing homeschooling, you can begin an MC with those students. So I started. Meanwhile, I didn't know anything about MC. I didn't know what they do. So for us, I knew we watch.
So good.
Yes. So we used to be there. Then after some time, they would encourage me, MC has to grow. So I would tell my members, please, all my disciples, our MC has to grow. So invite people. So they would go and invite. Since I had not told them, meanwhile I also didn't know. So I would tell them, you invite people to come to Garage. So as they went out to invite, they told people, this MC, because during COVID, they would give some packages of food to people. So I took some of them. So these people got excited. They invited very many people, telling them, there is food. And since they had been to WHWairaka for some services, like movers and shakers, even Garage. So they were like, we have even white, the early bird.
so much worse.
So there is going to be the
Food.
sponsorship, food,
Yes.
what. So meanwhile I go, because I used to attend garage at WHBugembe. By then I think it was still a hosting center. Maybe, I don't know. So I would attend, then after, Pastor Ann would ask me to go after garage. Go
And
to
teach.
Magamaga. No, I go with a tab. I had a tab and a speaker, Bluetooth speaker. So I would just host garage there, then come back to school.
Excellent.
So I go that Sunday, I found very many adults, very many people. I was like, wow, my disciples are doing a good thing. No. So meanwhile, me, I even didn't know where the MC will lead me. So as we started enjoying MC, what people would come. After some time, Pastor Ann told me, I look for a venue. Because we used to host in our home, just in someone's veranda. So she asked me to look for a venue. Meanwhile, for me, I thought maybe they'll get someone.
Everyone thinks that.
Some people at WHWairaka, so I thought maybe they'll get one of them. Yes. So we got a venue. I came, I told her this is the venue one. Then they organized, went and saw the venue. So when they went, I think we launched the hosting center. People didn't turn up. The adults, all the adults were there. So I called them, they were like, no, you know what, our children can't cross the road, we are very busy. So they didn't turn up. Later, I realized these people now got to know that this is now a church. It's not a place where they'll give them food or sponsorship. So they just remained. I think they thought maybe what their intentions are not going to go through. So that's how we started running a hosting center.
How long did you run the hosting center?
We started it in April
of 2021. April 2021. 22. Last year. And then when did you launch the location?
We launched in August.
Wow.
Yes. So for me, on launching, I even didn't know we are going to launch. I didn't know we are going to become a location at Water. I thought maybe it would just be there as a hosting center.
For a long time.
Meanwhile, I was still a student, so I thought students don't, maybe I'll first
don't become
graduate,
pastors.
then become a pastor. But that's how we ended up launching.
Wow. Can you first help me appreciate these pastors? We labored to let you hear all these stories, because in each story you hear your story, or you see a disciple you're raising who you think there is no hope, or you see a reluctant person. And I asked them earlier, what was was there a phenomenon? What happened in New Limits? And it was really, all of them were saying it was the love, it was the family, it was the food, it was the patience, it was it is exactly what is in a missional community. Because in Worship Harvest we say missional communities, they peg. What is that? They pray together, they play together, they eat together, they grow together, they go on mission. And so 8 years later, a missional community that began as a split, what they felt was a split, has produced 6 church plants and counting, and been part of launching 9 churches. Others are launching churches. Zonal pastors have come out of that. They still have strong relationships, even though they are not necessarily still a missional community. We encourage you, if you've already started a missional community, don't give up. Invest. If you've not begun one, begin one. And keep sending people out before you feel they are ready. Because none of these people felt ready when they were sent to start something. But here they are now, changing lives, raising disciples, making a difference. One more time, can you help me give it up for the pastors that came out of the No Limits missional community? Thank you so much for sharing your stories. You have inspired many. I know that Pastor Bill wanted to say something, and then we shall close. Pastor Bill.
Thank you.
Don't sit.
I just wanted to say thank you to a man of God here who really puts 10 on people. Apostle Moses embodies that thing of seeing potential not. And so, Apostle, I just wanted to say thank you. Yes. When Apostle met me, I was just a casual Christian, but he saw things in me that I'd never seen. And even to think that I could lead a missional community, it was because I got in close contact with him. So I wanted to say thank you, because you have loved us. Let me tell you guys, for me, I've botched it like, woof. But like, he gives you 10, you throw one by one, and then he adds another 10, and you throw one by one, and he adds another 10. And so thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.